All right, welcome back. This is Dawn Reby, and today we're going to go into being results focused and purpose driven, and we're going to combine it with the number five. So four and five are combined, being results focused and purpose driven, and then how to measure these actionable insights, right? And so the first part of it is really deciding that you're not going to be tactic driven, right? The thing. You're really going to be purpose driven. Look at the results what are the results? What are the key performance indicators that you're going to be studying? And so, you want your people to say, I know why. I know why I'm doing this. My purpose. I'm driven. So there's a story about these three, brick builders, right? And the guy goes up to the first builder and he says, "What are you building?" And the first brick builder says, I'm putting these bricks on top of each other because my job is to put the brick on and put the putty, put the brick, put the putty, put the brick, put the putty. Okay. And he's like, all right, great. So then he goes on to the next guy, and the next guy says, he says to the guy, "What are you doing? You're doing the same thing the other guy is doing, right? But what are you doing? What's the reason why you're doing this?" And he said, "Oh, we're going to build something. We're going to build something that's going to be great." Right? Okay. All right. Great. And then he goes to the third guy and he says, "What are you doing here? What are you building?" And that builder said, "This is going to be, this huge cathedral that's going to really host the most amazing people. And we're really doing this for a good reason. We're really going to help so many people." And, he gets into all the details of why his role of putting that brick in that spot at that time is so critical to the bigger picture, the end result, and all the people that are going to be served in this bigger mission. Who do you think shows up to work every day, even when they're, struggling? Or who do you think is not going to jump ship, right, to go to the next job that pays them a few extra dollars? It's the one that's connected to the purpose, right? And the same is true for you as a leader. If you are not in alignment with the core values and the purpose of your company, then you're not going to you're going to be looking for the next best thing, right? And so we want our folks to really move away from the what so much, right? And really get into that purpose, the results that we're looking to do. I worked in the policing world for quite some time, and I would ask analysts, I'd say, what do you do? And they say, "I analyze data." Right? And I'm like, no, like, why do you do that? And they said, "Well, to create the bulletins." "Oh, but why do you create bulletins?" And they said, "Oh, so I can make the presentations, because so I can help the detectives." I'm like, I asked them again and again, not how do you do what you do, right? Bulletins and analyzing reports. I asked them, what results do you intend to achieve as part of why you are analyzing the data and creating the bulletins? And very few had an answer. They continued to be so ultra focused on the what. Oh, gotta get the thing done, gotta get the thing done. And in the same breath, they were noted that they weren't even sure that what they were producing was actually of value, right? And so this type of thinking holds professionals really back from achieving the tremendous results that they could be achieving. Far too often, workers, professionals, even supervisors to some degree focus on the what. We focus on the things like the bulletin or the report or the analytics or, the product, right? And not the why, which is really the bigger point, right? And it's a huge misfortune when companies and professionals focus on the outputs, the things that they produce, and not the outcomes, the results of producing those, happier clients, safer communities, right? They lose sight of what they intend to achieve. They'll sit for hours on end to produce products that may or may not be creating results. And in fact, these products, these services, these things might in fact be wasting time and energy and resources and effort, right? Causing further frustration. And, the distinction that I'm trying to make here is that we should be less focused on the outputs, the things, and more focused on the intended outcomes, what we are looking to achieve. When we focus on the what we are looking to achieve, when we fully understand that destination point, now we can go back and explore the tools that will most efficiently and effectively get us there. But far too often I see business owners and supervisors and teams focused on the thing and learning the new thing and the tactic. And the reality is we want to be focused on the intended outcome a whole lot more than we are than being focused on the tactic, right? And so what results do you intend to achieve at your company, at your agency, right? And the tactics on how those goals will be reached evolve, right? So I think back, a bit just technology, right? When back in the day, we really didn't have a ton of technology. I think about sales folks would go door to door, and they didn't have these directories of potential customers, and so they went door to door. But if they only focused on going door to door and didn't focus on the result that they were trying to achieve, they never would have evolved with technology, right? So it's important to know that the tactics will change as technologies advance, right? And we really do need to evolve our tactics to best serve our clientele, our companies, our agencies. But the purpose does not change. Why we are there, spending time on products and activities must be clear, right? We must be clear on the why we are there. This creates clarity and opportunity for innovation, not only for the professional, but it really creates clarity for the company itself on how and why to use that particular professional, that particular unit or team, right? This helps us to really identify any gaps that prevent us from reaching our goals. If we're focused on the goals, we can more easily identify the things that are holding us back and then in turn create solutions and motivation to close those gaps. Okay. So, it's really important to understand the purpose, right? The purpose of where you're going, the things that you're doing, really identifying the impact that you as a team intend to achieve, and then addressing any gaps that prevent that impact, right? So, impact player. And really, the idea is to implement strategies that optimize the outcome, all right? Far too often, folks focus on that how, and the how changes. Technology changes. Methods change. But why we do what we do doesn't change. Okay? So, the first part of this is identifying that bigger, purpose of why we're doing things. And so how do we create this actionable insight? How do we, take a look at what we're doing and determine if it's, really impact focused? And so there's a tool for you to use, right, in your materials. Let me see if I can grab the name of that for you. So there's a tool that you can use, product service assessment template. So that product service assessment template, that's right, number 4 in your infrastructure series, really talks about, it gives you a tool to just list out all of the key products or services and responsibilities that each of your team members are responsible for. Maybe they do this, right? And that's in the first column. What are the things, right? What are the key products, key responsibilities, that you currently have on your plate? And then what is the purpose of this product or service, right? So let's say it was, a weekly report. Well, what's the purpose of that weekly report? Well, to guide the think tanks to, create better decisions. Okay, so that's the purpose. So who is the intended audience? The think tank, the CEO, whoever it might be. And then the next column is, does this product or service achieve those results? And if your answer is, I don't know, if your answer is, I don't even know if they read it, I don't even know if they listen to it, I don't even know if my presentation is heard or my document is read, then, then we need to talk about that. So the question becomes, in this little Excel sheet, the key responsibilities, what's the purpose, who's the intended audience, does this product or service achieve the results, right? And if so, what results are achieved, right? Is this product communicated or is this service communicated with the audience effectively, right? So, let's say it's a great product, but it's just not landing in the hands of the people we want it to land into. So we might be evaluating some of our process. So we're looking at our impact again, and we're looking at our process relative to all the products that we produce. Is this service utilized or is this product utilized effectively? So Is it creating the results that we want? Is it communicated effectively? And is it, utilized, right? So once it's given to them, is anyone using it effectively? Or are they so overwhelmed because they don't get what it means, right? And then the last column in this little cheat sheet for you and for your team, and I encourage you to really dive into this and see, what are the things that we're doing? Why are we doing them? Are they achieving their results? Are they communicated effectively? Are they utilized effectively? And then finally, the last column, what's our improvement strategy? What can we automate? What can we release or transfer? What can we improve? And so by doing this, you really help set some priorities for your team, right? You help also connect each and every one of those priorities with the purpose, with why you are doing certain things as a team. And we also included a template for you. So you're going to want to do this with your team in a kind of a separate template, right? But we provided a template for you too called time assessment. So number 4, time assessment. So it's number 4 because it's all part of this fourth video or audio. And so again, the key things that leaders must do, we'll go over them again. 1, establish that compelling vision and communicate the vision. 2, build a high-performance team. 3, be the head of growth initiatives. 4, build strategic partnerships. And you might have a 5 in there to create and deliver quality programs or services and that kind of thing. So you might have some other, key things that you do if you're in sales. You might recruit and sell into your program and that kind of thing. But we put the basics in there for you. So in the template number 4 called time assessment, we have 2 worksheets there. One is called example in the same document here. One is called example and one is called your turn. So the example just kind of shows you how we built it out for us. What's the focus area? Establish a compelling vision. What are the products or activities that we ourselves do? Now, this is a great way to start to tap into utilizing your team and really separate yourself from the things that made you successful in the earlier position and transition you to what's going to make you successful in this leadership role, right? And so so you're doing your brain dump for your people, your purpose-driven brain dump for your people, and having them do it actually. And then we're going to do one for you, time assessment. Where is all your time going? Most leaders work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and they're just so overwhelmed and so spinning. And it's so critical that you take the time to really figure out, am I working on the key things for growth in my business, in my agency, in my company, or am I spending time doing the things that the professionals are very capable of doing? So the example template here has the current monthly hours dedicated to the task, right? So this is just an example of how it looks. And then a column says my new monthly hours. So you go through this process of figuring out what you can prioritize, what you can automate, what you can delegate, what you can outsource, what you can delete, right? And also linking it to the purpose, right? So the first example, if you have it open with you, or I'll just read it to you, is the focus area is establish a compelling vision and communicate that vision, right? The monthly hours dedicated to this task might be, 6, right? Let's say an hour and a quarter a week, right? Maybe you spend on this vision and communicating the vision. The product or activities that you do is anything related to building or sharing the vision. Maybe you don't have a vision yet and you're working on just building it out, right? And then the purpose is to have a clear direction, to live by and to share, right? So that's the purpose of establishing a compelling vision and communicating that vision. And so in this one, I have it as my priority. So I'm keeping it. It's my priority. But some of the other ones, right, like if you look down a little bit, a couple rows down, build high performance teams. So that is definitely a goal, to build these high performance teams, right? So the products or activities, well, I'm looking at myself as a supervisor. I onboard and train new employees. I do monthly evaluations, and I have additional team training, retreats, things like that, right? And so that takes me about 6 hours a week, but a month rather, but I want to limit that to about 4, right? So how do I limit that to about 4? We'll identify the purpose. Should this even be part of what we do, right? And the purpose is to create sustainable and duplicatable flywheel, right? To really have a system in place where my team is supported well, and there's this flywheel going on where they, are doing the things that they know to do, are growing, and are supporting the bigger picture, right? So is this a priority? Absolutely. In that column F, is this a priority? And then, but even though I'm not giving up this particular area, I can tighten the amount of time I spend on this. So under automate, in a red box says somewhat, because I absolutely can automate the onboarding strategy, right? So I can create the process documentation, I can do that cross-training piece that I was talking about with the employees or whatever it might be. So I might be able to put the time in up front, but really shave off the monthly hours to be, 4, so that I'm really focusing on evaluations, team growth and retention strategies, and things like that. Okay, so this time assessment is really here to help you out to figure out, what are you doing, where are you focusing your time, and how can you reduce your time? And now you're going to want to reduce everything right now, right? You're going to want to reduce everything right now, but you might have to set up a plan to reduce these things. And the plan might take you a day, an hour, a month, a year to do. But the idea is to be focusing on the key things that leaders focus on, which is, listed out for you there, and to move those things that are priority, but maybe you don't have to do them all onto someone else who's really good at that stuff, right? To automate as much as you can, to delegate, right? To outsource, maybe you're hiring a contractor or whatever it might be, and then to simply just delete. Maybe you simply delete the meetings that you go to. Or for me, it was my email, right? I have all these subscriptions to emails. I get hundreds of emails a day. I literally just went through and unsubscribed, deleting my process of going in each day and actually deleting all the emails. I just don't want to see them, right? So I unsubscribed to a bunch. Now, does that take time? Absolutely. Absolutely, it takes time. But in the long run, it's going to earn back time. So I was spending about 2 hours, probably 4 hours. So maybe an hour a day going through these emails, seeing which one was important, maybe a half hour a day, going through the emails, seeing what's important, deleting. And it's just taking up too much time. So I want to automate it. I deleted all subscriptions so that instead of spending 16 hours a month, I'm spending 2 hours a month. I'm checking my email, the important stuff that goes into my, other categories, and the junk email that will come in doesn't take up as much of my time. So there's some tools in here for you. The tab that says your turn gives you the opportunity to go ahead and plug in the things that you are currently doing, and the things that you might want to kind of shift gears on a little bit. So I kept in there some of the key areas: establishing a compelling vision, communicating that vision, building a high-performance team, creating the quality programs if that's what you do, building strategic partnerships, heads of growth. So the top 4 are the ones that you absolutely want to be doing. And then the other ones you can kind of, tailor to what you do at your company. Okay. So the key here is to really, take the time to assess whether or not the results that you and your team are intended to achieve are, number 1, known, and number 2, streamlined. So, do the product service assessment template with your team, or give it to them and have them do it, and then you compile them and see what can be released if they don't necessarily know what can be released, right? And then use the time assessment template for you to help you decide, how can I be more purpose-driven? How can I eliminate the stuff that doesn't need to be done by me, right, the leader, but that can maybe be done by somebody else, delegated, automated, or simply released. This process will definitely take a little bit of time, and you're going to have an implementation plan where it might take you a couple months to work through automating some of these strategies and releasing some of these things. But in the end, when you are focused on purpose, the tactic isn't as important, right? When you are focused on purpose and results, the tactic isn't as important. But it is important that you are measuring your progress towards the results that you seek. So take the time, walk through this with you, use the templates, and have fun with it. Get refocused and shift your mindset into really the mindset of the leader that others need you to be. Good luck.